Hi guys. So I just handed you an example of an argumentative essay, and I know there's some issues that are kind of popping up, and I want to make sure that you understand what you need to do. At the same time, I don't want to give you all the answers with my essay. So I've just finished my first draft, typing my first paragraph. It's long, it's big. I like it so far. I'll show you. I want this to be faster, so here we go. So here's my first paragraph. So I have a lot of detailed information. I cited source 4, called it a text feature by OSPI. So I talk about that. And then I also have a couple little secrets in there that I'll share with you later. But let's talk about this one. We're going to highlight it up. So I have number 29 open in my notebook. And my phone's doing funny things. And then you have your packet of marker pens. So I got my marker pens here. And we're just going to highlight this. So this is something I wrote a couple years ago about measles. The controversy about vaccinating your child against measles in particular. So we said the attention grabber was going to be orange. So I started with the statistic. If vaccinations were not available, one measles patient will infect 18 people. So I gave you a strong statement that had a bit of statistical data in there to get to your attention. And so then I'm going to tell you a little bit about measles. Measles, a highly contagious disease that is airborne, can cause severe complications such as encephalitis, deafness, and pneumonia. 1/3 of all measles cases require hospitalization. Before the vaccine was available in the 1960s, as many as 500 Americans died each year from this disease. Measles are a real threat, and families have the powerful choice to vaccinate or not vaccinate. So that particular sentence, I'm going to grab just a pen. I want you to grab a pencil. That's the overall argument. So I want you to put a box around that sentence that says, measles are a real threat. So that is your the whole argument, the issue involved. So I just put a box around there because we didn't say it was a particular color. And then we have our reasons. So the first reason is this decision affects not only their children. So that's a yellow. And then the second one would be 15 years ago. This infectious disease was thought to be a thing of the past, but now there are hundreds of cases in multiple states. So those are my two reasons why I want you to do what I want you to do. And then the thesis would be, in order to keep everyone safe, I am against not vaccinating your child for religious or philosophical beliefs for several reasons. So even though this is about measles, it's still the same idea. There's background, there's the overall argument, there are the two reasons. The first is good, the second is better. So then we said purple was going to be your transition word. So I put one reason. So that would be my transition phrase. And then the rest of it's going to be green. Is that parents' personal decision to not vaccinate affects more than their own children every single time they leave the house. So that one is green. Okay? And then I'm coming to my first piece of evidence. And I started off with a quote, and so I did the quote and then I cite who said it. So, you no more have the right to risk others by failing to vaccinate than you do by sending your child to school with a hunting knife, states New York Times columnist Nicholas Kristof. So I have a piece of evidence there, so that's all yellow. And then Kristof continues, so I'm going to keep going with the yellow because it's still the quote. Vaccination isn't a private choice, but a civic obligation. Okay? So all of that is yellow. All of that is yellow. Now I'm going to elaborate a bit. Remember, it's messy. Argument is messy there because it's not green, yellow, pink, pink, yellow, pink, pink. It's going to be green, yellow, pink of some sort. And the thing you need to know if it's green or if it's yellow, if it's pink, it's the whole sentence. The only difference was my transition word or phrase. That's the only partial part I can do. So now I have pink, and I'm at the except not everyone can be vaccinated, such as newborn infants, people with allergies to the vaccines themselves, and others who have medical conditions that affect their immune system. So all of that is pink. Okay? Then I have another piece of evidence. According to Patricia Smith, author of Return of the Measles, And it just keeps going on. According to Patricia Smith, author of Return of the Measles, this group relies on the herd immunity principle. People who cannot be vaccinated depend on everyone around them being vaccinated so the disease can't spread, said Smith. So I have the whole part with the quote. I have the title of it, who wrote it, the whole thing. And then I'm going to elaborate. Pink. Clearly, choosing to not vaccinate your child creates a dangerous, possibly fatal situation for others. So, there I have it. My messy argument. Now I have my next paragraph, my second reason, which should be better. So we start with the transition. It's going to be pink. This color, purple. More importantly, so I even hint toward it that this is my bigger issue. Green. Measles was officially eliminated in the United States in 2000. Now there are more than 158 new cases in 18 states and the District of Columbia. All of that is green. All of that is green. And then I'm going to go ahead and now cite some more information. So that's yellow. If I can grab it. There's my yellow. Smith states, before vaccines for measles became widespread in 1963, millions of Americans were infected annually with 400 to 500 dying each year. So all my evidence is yellow. And then I'm going to elaborate a bit. If parents continue to choose to not vaccinate, so I keep going back to my claim, due to philosophical or religious reasons, the number of Americans infected will continue to grow. And I keep going on. What was once eradicated will now become a very grave issue for many families. And then I elaborate some more. According to the World Health Organization, 91% of American families chose to vaccinate their children, a rate lower than the African country of Zimbabwe and the Asian country of Bangladesh. So all of that is just information that I put together, not quoted. So I didn't get it from the sources. Well, I did a little bit here and there, and I kind of put it all together with a statistic. And then I go back to some more evidence. So yellow, according to Smith. So once I've introduced an author in an article, I don't have to say all of it again. You just have to do it once per source. According to Smith, vaccination rates are much lower in some American communities. In Orange County, for example, some schools report that 50 to 60% of their kindergartners aren't fully vaccinated against measles. So all of that is yellow because that's evidence. Now I'm going to go ahead and elaborate some more. Many families obviously don't understand the risks of not vaccinating their children. It doesn't get any clearer than this. Orange County, one of the wealthiest counties in the United States and the home of Disneyland, is also the epicenter of the first measles outbreak in our country. So all of that is my elaboration. And I have on the other hand, so this would be my transition taking me to the counter argument. So the counter argument we said was orange. Parents do have the right to choose to not vaccinate based on the First Amendment. So it's very, very true. So here we have it. So it's it's purple with an orange. And then I cite what the actual constitutional amendment says, so yellow. The amendment states, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or the press, or the right of the people to peaceably assemble, and the petition of government for redress of grievances. So all of that is a source that proves that counter-argument exists, and it's there. So I have to acknowledge it. Now, I got to get you to my point. However, so I'm going to use a little bit of elaboration. Get you back to my claim of families should vaccinate. And I wrote this. I could have written this essay for or against it. I just did this side and I pulled it up because I thought this might help you organize your essay just a little bit better. So, however, pink. However, when parents put their other people at risk because they don't know better and hide behind the First Amendment, you can see I have a lot of loaded language here. It is evident that the decision to not vaccinate is harmful to all American citizens. So all that is pink. All that is pink. Many parents who have made this choice do not understand the complications, and others still adhere to the outdated, disproved, so here I am, still going on, disproved 1998 report linking vaccines to autism. So all that is pink. I'm still elaborating. I'm synthesizing a lot of information and giving it back to you in a new way. That's my words. Several chose to believe that vaccines can harm their children, according to Smith. So now I'm getting really close to paraphrasing. So I'm going to say one child cited. So I'm going to use, that's evidence. That gets me back to my point. One child cited in Smith's article was Tobias, now 8 years old. And Tobias' parents chose to not vaccinate him because they didn't want to expose him to toxins. As a result, he contracted chickenpox and whooping cough. So all that because I said, you know, he was cited in the article. So I'm going to call that another piece of evidence. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to elaborate some more. Clearly, choosing to not vaccinate your child not only puts others at extreme risk, but also risks your child being infected with many complicated diseases, some with fatal results that could have been prevented with safe, proven immunizations. So that's my counter argument. I'm trying to get you back to my point. So I'm going to transition you. As you can see, purple. It is wrong to not vaccinate your child for religious or philosophical reasons. So you can see I have some loaded language in here. I want to evoke a strong emotion of, if you have a child, parents want to do right. And so I'm trying to encourage parents to see the ways of the light in this essay. So here we go, blue. It is wrong to not vaccinate your child for religious or philosophical reasons. So there we have my restated thesis. Pretty bold, pretty blunt, pretty plain. Now I'm going to touch on my reasons and my details and my facts. Sorry, he's vacuuming. It's a civic duty because it puts many at risk, not just kids, because that was my reason number one. And then once a disease of the past, measles has returned with abandon across the United States. So both of those are my touching back on the two reasons. Measles was once the most harmful infectious of all childhood diseases. So I'm touching back on my background information just to get you like thinking about it. Do we want this to happen again? I know no parent would deliberately put others at risk. According to Smith, the measles vaccine is 97% effective and entirely safe. So all that is just touching on my background, and I'm giving you one more statistic to realize that you'd have to be foolish to not do what I've asked you to do. And then my call to action, the time has come for families to uphold their civic duty and vaccinate. So what I want you to do is I want you to put your name on your paper on the front. So here goes. I want you to put your name on it, and then I want you to hold on to this till the end of the period. And the last 5-ish minutes when we're getting cleaned up, I want you to turn this in. This is going to help you, even though it's about the measles. You can see how I put it together. And use this framework and maybe some of the persuasive devices I used, and use them in your essay about the 4-day school week. And then you're going to turn this in, and I'll give it back to you, and then you can use it to model again tomorrow and such. So hopefully you are able to meet the deadline and get your outline done today. I hope so. And then once you have that outline done, bring it to me, and I'll look at it real quick. And then you start typing, and then I can start skulking things about in the Google Classroom. I probably won't give you as much feedback as I've done in the past, just because I'd rather circulate and help people stay focused that way. But if time allows, then I'll definitely look at it. So make sure that you tell me the title of your source. You can say source 1 called something 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 by somebody, the author stated blah. So you need to make sure that you're really careful about that. And anyway, there we are. Okay, work hard.